Much and good afternoon, everyone. It is such a gorgeous day in Prince George's County, and I'm super excited to be here with all of you. I want to thank BizNow for having me here today, and I love the theme, the next chapter for Prince George's County. And let me just tell you what our next chapter is all about. It's all about elevating Prince George's County. And so we are excited to be with you today. I want to introduce a few of my team members who are here, starting with my Chief of Staff, Latara Harris, along with our brand new DCAO for Economic Development, Tracy Benjamin, who is really no stranger to development. She has been on the transactional side in the Office of Law for over 20 years, working on all of the major projects here in Prince George's County. Now she will lead the future development of Prince George's County, so we're excited to have her. Along with Judy Danso. Judy Danso, our new Executive Director of the Revenue Authority. And next Friday, is that correct? On the 31st, they will be issuing a new solicitation for a 93-acre parcel near the Bowie State University. This is a huge opportunity for transit-oriented development. So we hope that you all will pay attention to the Revenue Authority next Friday, okay? In addition to that, we have the Executive Director of the Redevelopment Authority, Perry Paler, who is here with us. Perry has a lot of projects under his belt, so please reach out to him from Suitland to Capitol Heights and across really Prince George's County, Riverdale, and so many other areas. We are developing, we are moving, and we are excited that you want to be a part of the next chapter of Prince George's County. I also have with us today the Director of Housing and Community Development, Jonathan Butler. Jonathan's in the back over there. Jonathan, don't hide out. They need to see who you are because you know what? We have a mandate. Our governor wants us to build 21,000 new housing units here in Prince George's County. Many of those units need to be affordable workforce housing, and so Jonathan will be leading the way on that, and we need your input and your support, and we need many of you to build that housing that we need here in Prince George's County. And last but certainly not least, our Director of Procurement, Alice Williams. So just about 2 weeks ago, I signed an executive order centralizing all procurement activities for Prince George's County under that lady over there. And it was important to me that I have a system of accountability. Ms. Williams is someone who comes to us from the federal government, where she is used to procuring hundreds of billions and ensuring that local and minority businesses have an opportunity not only to compete, but to win. And so I said to her that it is good business to do business with the people of Prince George's County. She agrees and has been meeting with businesses every Friday and sometimes other days during the week because we want our businesses to be registered. We want them to be ready for any and all solicitations that come out because the growth of Prince George's County will occur when our small businesses win, okay? So we are focused on that. You know, one of the things that we have seen hinder business is protracted county processes. And I can tell you that in my first 100 days, I challenged the Department of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement, along with the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, to focus on reforming our zoning and permitting processes. Um, we know that many of you have faced bottlenecks. So we set out to fix a broken system. I decided not to have another task force, but just to get the job done, because we understood what the issues were. We just needed to do something about it. We introduced the Small Business Fast Track Program to move commercial projects under 5,000 square feet through the permitting process in just 10 days. We've had 108 permits that have been issued through that system. And those entrepreneurs are supported by a dedicated team guiding them from start to finish. In fact, just today I met with DPI to talk about what their needs were in order to increase those numbers, because I'm never really satisfied. You'll learn that about me. I want the best for my county. And so I'm focused on ensuring that our permitting system is one that all of you can believe in. But trust me, we are working on it and we're getting the job done. For larger projects, we have developed a permit rapid response team, bringing together critical permitting agencies from the state and the county, along with the utilities, because I understand that sometimes they're the roadblock. We want to review projects simultaneously so that it's not moving from one agency to another, that they can review them and have a parallel process for review so that we can speed up that process. What used to take 16 months or longer to get to shovel ready, we have a process that can have these same projects green lighted in under 6 months. So with those reforms, we believe that not only is it good business to do business with the people of Prince George's County, but it is good business to do business in Prince George's County. Along with permitting reforms, as I mentioned, we centralize procurement. Why that is important is because we have certain goals for local businesses. But what we learned is that a lot of our procurement was being done on what's called riders. And riders are contracts that have already been negotiated, sometimes with out-of-county businesses, sometimes with out-of-state businesses. And what that does is it takes away a local business's opportunity to fairly compete for contracts that they would otherwise be qualified to bid on and win. And so we have someone in Alice Williams, and I can't express to you more how important it is to meet her. She has a dynamic team as well, because we are serious, absolutely serious about contracting locally. We are recognizing, because of what we're facing as a nation with the shutdown of our federal government, that our heavy reliance on the federal government is a barrier for us to continue to increase wealth and opportunities. And so we have to model that locally, and that's why I've appointed such a dynamic leader of our procurement agency. You know, we are absolutely excited about new investments coming into the county. And one thing I wanted to do, and I hope that you have seen it, is I wanted to elevate our county by beautifying our county. If we want people to invest here, we got to look good, and that's just the reality. So Project Elevate, beautification and renewal, is all about addressing neglected spaces, enhancing curb appeal, and making our public parks and neighborhoods feel like the premium spaces that they are. So beautification isn't just surface deep. Small details like clean green spaces helps to attract significant investments. So when I came into office, we have what's called a 311 system where folks can dial in complaints. And I was told that it just doesn't work. But what I learned is that that system actually does work because there were 27,000, over 27,000 complaints lodged in the system that had gone unresolved. Over 13,000 of them were nuisance complaints about debris, trash, overgrown trees, things like that. And so what we did was we launched our 311 strike force. And what we said is that we are going to focus on reducing that backlog. And I can tell you that in the last 45 days or so that that task force has been in action, we have hit the 85% mark in terms of reducing trash and litter, which amounts to nearly 9,000 service requests fulfilled. And we're continuing to do even more. And so what that tells us is that we can make government work for the people, but we have to be intentional about it. We have to invest our resources wisely. And I can tell you that those companies that have helped us clean up Prince George's County, well, guess where they are located? In Prince George's County. So we have employed small businesses all across this county. And one of my new favorite stories is that I was on Nextdoor. Yes, I go on Nextdoor sometimes just to see what the neighbors are saying. And there was a young man, and he was advertising his landscape business. He said, look, I'm ready. I've got my mower here. I got my rake. If you all need my service, let me know. And guess what I did? I told my team to call him up. Let's get him to be a part of our team. And right now, this week, as we're speaking today, he is out there helping to beautify his county. And so trust me when I tell you, we are serious about getting business done. And lastly, what I'll say, because we have so many projects, and I know that you've heard about them, our Blue Line Corridor, where we have a state investment of over $400 million, and so we're going to be building along that corridor. I know that you know about Six Flags. They're leaving, but the reality is Six Flags really generated about $3 million a year for the county. And they're one of our largest sites, over 500 acres, right? Six Flags operates on about 20% of that. And so when you look at it, Six Flags site is actually much larger than National Harbor. National Harbor is about 300 acres. We're talking about 200 additional acres of land, but because it was underutilized and because Six Flags was a place that people would visit but not stay, we really didn't realize what we could off of that prime real estate. And so we are now working with the developer or the owner to identify a new user, or really users, so that we could maximize our opportunity to grow our economy on a site like the Six Flags site. You know, National Harbor yields over 70 million for the county, and I think we can do that or even better over at the Six Flags site. So I'm excited about that site. I'm also excited about the work we're doing with the Commanders to redevelop Northwest Stadium. Again, we appreciate the Commanders. I will miss them because I'm a huge fan. However, they yield about 14 or so million for us yearly. And this is a 200-acre site. With another 100 acres near that stadium that's controlled by Park and Planning in WMATA. So what we do know is that the future, again, is really bright, and it's an opportunity for us to be a destination site for the world. And so we're excited, again, about the future of Prince George's County, and we're getting ready. We are making sure that we are ready to accept the development and investment that we know is coming. And lastly, I will say, since we're near my alma mater, University of Maryland, We are excited about the work of IonQ and the fact that we are the quantum capital of the world. We're also excited that Microsoft has announced their new research center will be located in our own backyard here at the University of Maryland Discovery District. So Prince George's County, we're where it's at. This is the place to be. And you've got an administration that is focused on business and development and investment, focused on delivering for you, and working with partners like BizNow to spread the word. So let's continue to elevate Prince George's County together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, County Executive Braveboy. We're rooting for the administration. Appreciate you participating. All right, we are going to get into our first panel discussion. Recognizing transformation in Prince George's County, catalyzing regional economic development, housing, and CRE opportunity. Come on up, Dr. Gina Merritt, Principal, Northern Real Estate Urban Ventures. Ken Ullman, President, Terrapin Development Company. Omar Karim, President, Banneker Ventures. Perry Paler, Executive Director, Redevelopment Authority, Prince George's County. John Childress, VP of Development and Special Projects, Mosaic Development Partners. Scooter Monroe, Managing Partner, Workhorse Residential. And moderating this group this afternoon, Ebony Sachs, President and CEO, Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation. We can just scooch down.
Great. Good afternoon. We've got an esteemed panel with us today to talk about economic development and development in Prince George's County, talking about catalysts and regional economic development. My name is Ebony Stocks. I am the interim president and CEO of the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation, and I'm very happy and proud to be moderating today's panel. So we have quite a few panelists with us, and they just told me we have additional time. So let's start with introductions, your name, your title, your organization, and a little bit about yourself.
Sure, thank you. I'll start by saying very happy to be here at my alma mater, University of Maryland. We hopefully the Terps can shock the world this weekend and bring home a win. And thank you to BizNow for allowing me to sit up here with this esteemed group. My company is Workhorse Residential. We are a boutique real estate development firm, small group, but we kind of punch above our weight class. We have about 240 lots that we are developing in Prince George's, and very encouraged by the county executives' thoughts about improving the process and speeding things up, because we want to help make Prince George's gorgeous.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Childress. I'm Senior Vice President for Mosaic Development Partners. Very honored to be here, Madam Executive, for sure. And I arrived in the county a couple years ago at 18 years old to come here to University of Maryland. As you can see, it's been a little bit of time since then, but it's just amazing all the great things that are done here. We are partnering along with Campus Apartments, and we are developing the graduate student housing building right behind here. You might have seen it on Campus Drive, along with Davis Construction and Smoot and a few others there with a great team. We're also working along with Terrapin Development, the Castle family at the Aviation District. And of course, we are also working at Bowie State University, 3 fine institutions here. So I'm honored to be here. It is a great opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Perry Paler. I'm the Executive Director of the Redevelopment Authority. I'm truly honored to have the opportunity to return to the Redevelopment Authority. I served as General Counsel of the Redevelopment Authority from 2003 to 2010, and just excited about all that we have going on in Prince George's County as it relates to development. I'd also like to take a point of privilege and introduce the chairman of the Redevelopment Authority, Mr. Leon Bailey Jr. He's here with us today. And so thank you, and thank you to my colleagues. I look forward to hearing from all of you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Omar Kareem. It's so wonderful to see everybody, the county executive and her amazing team and new leadership. We look forward to working with everyone. We're with a real estate development and construction firm. We're developing about $450 million right here in gorgeous Prince George's. We're under construction right now with a $96 million mixed-use project, the largest capital investment in that part of Capitol Heights ever. And so we really appreciate the county's partnership in that project, where we're going to be bringing retail and apartments to that project. And our other notable project is a $370 million development that we're doing in downtown Largo, where we're going to be developing downtown Largo and bringing some high-end retail and some wonderful apartments, and probably about as much or more in tax revenue per year than all of Six Flags and what they used to bring. So super excited to be here on this panel and talk about what we're doing.
Great. Hi, Ken Ullman, President of Terrapin Development Company. We are a real estate development company that is co-owned by the University of Maryland College Park and the University of Maryland College Park Foundation to deliver the world's greatest university community right here in Prince George's County, serving the county and as the flagship of the great state of Maryland. And for all of you Terps here, go Terps, raise your hand. And I know we have the county executive, our favorite Terp. And I can just say, as a former county executive myself, I am so thrilled by your comments. I know everyone here in the real estate world is really excited with your focus and your experience on how to get things done. We all know it's not easy anywhere to get things done, and just so thrilled. And last thing I would just say is, Scooter, I think you might have to suit up this weekend because Scooter played football for the University of Maryland. So the fact that you're hoping for a good weekend, we might need you this weekend. So
I have 1 year
great
of
to be here.
eligibility.
I am Gina Merritt. My company is Northern Real Estate Urban Ventures. We do mostly multifamily housing, mostly affordable. We are doing some workforce development now. We have about $175 million in the county, $500 million right now under development. And our projects are located in Suitland. We have a 2-phase affordable housing project. And then we are also working on a TOD project at the Capitol Heights Metro. We also are a vertically integrated organization, so we do HVAC contracting. We do airport concessions management for IAD and Reagan. And so, you know, as a small business, of course, we're doing all the things. But we really do, I'm really excited now, and I guess we'll talk about this a little later on, in terms of doing business in the county, because honestly, the 3 projects that I have taken so long to get through entitlements, I really nearly had given up. And so I was so happy to hear what the executive said today, because that's giving me hope in being part of the next chapter of Prince George's County.
All right, well, let's jump right into it. I love that our panel is already excited and revved up. So let's start. All right, so Prince George's County has seen a lot of development momentum. We're talking College Park, the development in New Carrollton, Laurel, National Harbor, Largo, a lot of momentum. What do you think is driving the current investor and development interest in the county? And how do you see these conditions shaping opportunities as we move into 2026? So this question is for anyone to get us started.
I think land costs is always, you know, compared to other municipalities nearby, you can, you know, buy land here that's fairly attractive. And I think you have also a county administration and state administration that support development and that have tools to support the development. Other municipalities, I was in Detroit on Thursday and Friday, and they unfortunately don't have as many resources that we have, and there's other places around the country that don't have the type of resources. So I think, that's probably what's driving it. You have some the capital markets are interested in investing in the state and in the county. And then you have retailers that's also interested in expanding beyond the district and other municipalities that, at least that's what we found on the projects that we're working on.
Yeah, I think adding on to those points, you have great anchors here in the county. You have this incredible institution. As I mentioned, all of the fabulous changes that have happened here. You have Bowie State University. So you have these great anchors. You have the Joint Air Force Base. And then to that, you add the administration, which is really pro-development, really pro-people as well. When you talk about streamlining the process to make it happen, investors are like, I like that, right? They don't want their money tied up for years and years through red tape. So that's a key consideration. And then the last part, which is really important, is how do we work together to solve challenges? And that part is absolutely critical. I mean, the amount of things that Prince George's County has done in the last couple of decades is amazing. And what's proposed to go forward is even better. But that only happens with all of us working together, public and private partnerships.
Yeah, I would just add, to piggyback on the anchor comment, the anchors have been here for generations, but the positive, outward-looking economic development, real estate development didn't necessarily happen, right? And so when President Wallace Lowe got here, and now under President Darrell Pines, same thing with Dr. Breaux at Bowie State University, you have folks who want to engage the surrounding community, want to see the benefits, actually connect with the surrounding community, and then having the local government, whether it's the municipalities or whether it's the county, really understand and work together. And those things all need to be aligned, right? And so we talked about quantum. I can tell you, when IonQ spun out of a lab, I was the first person to get to know the researcher, Chris Monroe, and he had a lease in front of him for another jurisdiction. And we scrambled, and President Lowe freed up an old vacant warehouse and said, no, we want him to stay. Let's put him there. And that's their world headquarters. They're worth $20 billion now. And they're by the metro. They'll break ground very soon on the next wave, 150,000 square foot. But unless everybody is aligned to work together, then, those great innovators go and take their talent to Boston or Austin or Silicon Valley. And we have a chance now, with everything aligned, to really keep it here. And we're seeing the fruits of that, and we need to keep it going.
Yeah, and I just want to say briefly, look, our county executive sent the message. Prince George's County is built for growth, and we're elevating communities. And it's a consistent message. It's been consistent, and we're going to follow through with that. And I'm just excited to see what happens over the next 9.5 years.
So Perry, this question is for you. Just to follow up on something our county executive mentioned about the new programming that's happening at DPI, and some of the changes that will address some of our permitting issues in the county. Can you elaborate on some of the new initiatives and reforms and how that will help our developers in the House get some of their projects done quicker?
Well, sure. I was particularly excited to hear about the permitting rapid response team. And it directly impacts the redevelopment authority. We deal with large projects. And for example, I'd like to take a second and talk about the Cheverly project.
Absolutely.
That's the old Prince George's County Hospital. We're talking about 40 acres, and dealing with them, we're looking at about 1,000 multifamily units, a hotel, and retail. Now, based on that, we're looking at a permitting process that would have taken 16 to 18 months. They are actually been nominated and accepted into the permitting rapid response team program. That's going to be truncated to six months. So, and what you're going to see from that project, it's going to elevate that whole area where it's located right on the Parkway. And we're just excited to see that. We have a few other projects we're going to be announcing directly as it relates to the redevelopment authority, but also Six Flags, the Commander Stadium. Once we get to that point where it's time to apply for permits, you're going to see a rapid return, and it's going to be a return that all the residents in Prince George's County are going to benefit from.
I definitely think that deserves a round of applause.
You know I have something to say.
How does it help you
Can-
as a developer, Gina?
Yes, please. So it's taken so many years, right, to entitle our affordable housing projects. And as a small business, I mean, you all know two-thirds of the folks being hired now are by small businesses. But if small businesses, like small developers, have to spend all of their capital on carrying costs because it takes years to entitle your property, then we don't have money to spend then on employees and other things that would help generate economic opportunity in the county. So, you know, this whole notion of expediting the process is going to have such a significant impact. I just cannot wait to do the next project now. I mean, seriously, I was like done. I was done. Because, you know, we were taking our resources to other places where the timelines were quicker, right? And so now I look forward to, you know, being able to get projects done quicker, hire more people, and support that vision for the next chapter. So I'm beyond elated.
Yeah, and we had a pre-call earlier this week, and we talked about just this, and a lot of people in the room know this, but you know, it's a competitive environment. It's no different than the Ravens or the Redskins or the Terps. We're competing to win. So when you can take your resources to other counties, everybody that's sitting, you know, on this panel believes in Prince George's County, believes in the state of Maryland, and wants to do business here. But we all know developers who are heading south and going to other states because the process is easier. And you know, having an administration that is willing to help, you know, fix, you know, some of the issues is really important, and it gets us excited because we want to be a part of this county and state.
Absolutely. I would say at the EDC, a lot of our job is helping projects get through the permitting process. I would say this expedited process, please put us out of business. Please let us shift our focus onto something else, because time is money for our developers, and making sure that these projects get in the ground a lot quicker also brings in those tax revenues, and we definitely want that sooner rather than later. All right, so let's skip ahead and talk about the developer's favorite subject, talking about P3 models. So collaboration between the private sector and county agencies has been key to some recent progress and success. What are some examples of successful P3 models in the county, and where do you see the most untapped potential for new partnerships?
I'd like to jump in here. So it's interesting for our affordable housing projects. It really, affordable housing has to be a P3 model, right? Because you need subsidy in order to develop affordable housing. But I think the thing that I was most happy about is the way that the county is helping with the tools that they have, right? Because we know there are lots of jurisdictions that still have COVID impacts, right? You haven't been able to collect enough money to put in those subsidy buckets. So then you have to use other tools, right? Whatever's in your toolbox. So things like the, you know, property tax abatement, things like, or pilots, things like we have some money from the county and money from the state, right, in order to deliver affordable housing. Waivers of fees, right? I mean, we know the impact fees are substantial in the county, but we're at a time period where it's very difficult, right, for affordable housing to be able to pay those. So again, using the tools in the toolbox to help facilitate affordable housing, to me is great. That the county is doing everything they can to create a superior P3 model, which is everything you got, throw it at it, so that we can close.
So Gina talked a little bit about some of the financing tools that the county has. Let's talk about from the investors. So we know that in today's financing environment, things are getting tighter. So what are investors and lenders looking for in your county projects? Which asset classes are proving to be most resilient or attractive to capital right now? And how does that align or not with some of the development initiatives that we have here in the county? Ken, do you want to? Oh,
Good, Omar.
So I can think of like 3 or 4 things. Number one, they want to know people going to pay their rent. And if they don't pay it, they want to know that there's a mechanism to handle that. Secondly, they want to have a surety that when you start the process, you're going to complete the process. So you might have, pre-development financing lined up and equity that's being, paid to take care of the architecture, engineering, and legal fees. They want to know that there's going to be a construction takeout financing in a, not so distant future. Those are a number of things that come to mind. And, I think they want to know overall, whether there's a partnership with the municipality to work through different things, right? Where there's going to be, where there are headaches. Can we get through the permitting process, right? In the past, we all know what it's been like. And I know we at Banneker are super excited about the fast track process and to be in line to, work with those things. So those are a few of the things. I know there's been some major projects and, the Commanders leaving and Six Flags leaving, but I personally think that there's a significant opportunity to bring capital dollars to the county and to do something world-class where people want to live and work and play in the county.
I see some head nodding. Ken?
Yeah, no, this is, it's not an easy time, right? I mean, interest rates are higher than, they're coming down a little, but it's still a challenging interest rate environment. And it's a challenging environment with the uncertainty of the federal government. So let's be honest, right? It's not easy. It's not an easy time. So what are the strengths? And, obviously you see cranes everywhere. Well, a lot of that is undergraduate purpose-built student housing. So the University of Maryland is still one of the hottest markets, and we keep wondering, how much demand? Where are these students coming from? Another 2,000 beds, but there's still a robust market. But I'll tell you, when we did our joint venture partnership with Bozzuto and JP Morgan that brought the county Trader Joe's, which we fought for a long, long time, it was, thank you. I should have retired then. It was all downhill after we got Trader Joe's.
More to come.
But I will tell you, it was very interesting, and frankly, it was a little bit surprising. We partnered with Bozzuto, and we were turned down by a lot of equity sources because they didn't see comps in this area for multifamily housing, which was sort of shocking. And JP Morgan's Opportunity Zone Fund was actually the financing behind it. Now, since then, the Pilot House opened down the road at Riverdale Park Station. Gilbane opened the Atworth at the College Park Metro. So proving that this is a market that can support certain product types, whether it be residential or commercial, is really, really important, and just breaking through and demonstrating to the equity markets that we are actually a great place for investment.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in. Look, we know we're in tough times, but it's our government. We're prepared to lean in. We know we have to provide decent, safe, and sanitary housing to the residents in Prince George's County, and we're committed to do that. And we have tools and resources that we'll make available, but we're committed to make sure that we meet the challenge issued by the governor and make sure that everyone has a place that they can call home in Prince George's County.
Let me just add real quick on that project. I forgot to say the county and the city of College Park came in with a pilot to help us get over the hump, just because we had to add another parking garage, and so we did have great partnerships, and we continue to have great partnerships.
And as I recall, I think the Economic Development Incentive Fund, EDI Fund, also contributes.
When I say
to
the
that
county,
project.
I mean all of the county family.
Can't forget
you,
about
Ebony.
EDI Fund. Go ahead, Scooter.
And thank you, David. David's in the audience too. Thank you, David.
we're also seeing that investors and lenders want to de-risk the deal. They want it, closer to shovel ready. So, I hate to keep harping on the process, but the sooner that we can get to certainty in a process, the easier it is for deals to get financed and to move forward. And it allows, guys and women like me to sleep at night knowing that the project is going to go forward, even if we have other hurdles to go through, like environmental and different things that you need to navigate in the development process. But knowing that the project will get done, that allows the wheels to move quicker.
We've seen a strong demand still in transit-oriented developments. Those are definitely strong, and certainly the county has one of the premier transit-oriented development sites here. In addition to that, when you combine that with the support from the county and from the state, now it becomes a more palatable bite for the investor. If you think about it, when times get tough, they're going to look for the real cream type of opportunities. And as the county executive laid out, Prince George's County has several of those cream opportunities. So we still feel it's a strong opportunity for investment in the county.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about costs, rising costs. So how are developers balancing rising costs with the county's growing need for attainable housing? What innovative financing or partnership models are helping make mixed income or affordable housing more feasible?
So so shout out to Amazon that came to the region a couple of years ago and created a $4 billion fund. If you see Jeff, can you tell him we'll take another 4? They invested $21 million with us to invest along the Blue Line corridor and put that money in. And without that type of financing, that TOD project wouldn't have been able to happen. And they also have invested, throughout the county and other projects. And so certainly something like that works. Pilots have been, incredibly helpful. So thank you to the county for those type of support. State capital dollars have, we received some state capital dollars for a project, and without those state capital dollars and DHCD money from Prince George's County, shout out to DHCD for, and came in again when construction costs went up. The county came in and really stepped forward and helped. And it's that type of partnership when you're trying to make these type of investments that have, I think, been incredibly helpful. And by the way, people still want to live in the county, right? When they look to, live in anywhere in this metro area, they're looking at Northern Virginia, they're looking at the district, you're looking at Montgomery County, and it's still more affordable to live in Prince George's County. And so if we double down to continue to put more multifamily and mixed use, and particularly bring in higher end retail. We spend billions of dollars outside the county, and I hate going to restaurants outside the county. I hate going to the district or Annapolis or Montgomery County, and that's why we're going to bring the type of retail that our county needs. And I think if other developers continue to do that and continue to bring grocery stores, like we're talking about Trader Joe's and other stores where our neighbors oftentimes travel across the line to go shop, those we'll see the ROI on these deals.
We're going to put a pin in that and something you just said, but I want to get to the rest of the responses.
So I think we go through a process in terms of how do you make it affordable enough so that it's attainable, right? And you're starting off on the design side. Are you really looking at some of the modern types of designs which can lower your costs, such as modular building, panelized approach, really looking at it from that side? Because if you can lower the cost, now you can charge less and you can make it more attainable. The second part is really working hand in hand with your GC. I mean, I think Joe from Davis is here. A few other folks are here as well. We work with them several times a day, every single day. The end result is we are on pace for a project right next door to us to come in millions of dollars under budget and months ahead of schedule. But that comes from that close hand-in-hand working and staying on top of every detail, which is absolutely critical. And then lastly, I will say, you can look at these challenges as opportunities, right? One of the things we've really been investigating a lot is passive homes. How do we build in harmony with nature around us? How do we build with net zero? And if you can do that, and you look at some of the sites here, which are really beautiful, if you can do that, now you can create something which lowers the operating costs going forward. So that puts less pressure on the deal by having a lower operating cost when you're not paying heavy utility bills. And it's also a beautiful thing for the county as part of the beautification and to keep it going that way.
Well, one of the things that we look like, particularly to spur affordable housing, is private partnerships, private-public partnerships. There are times and sometimes we might donate land to a project if we're getting the housing product that we need and we know the residents in a particular area of the county need. And so we can, obviously have studies and we put out RFPs and things of that nature to see where that need is and how we can get that product developed.
And I'll just add one thing. If we award work to local contractors, then the costs will come down. So I'm not just sending a shout out to our construction team, which is building our own projects now, right? But we see that. We had general contractor that was looking at, one of our deals, and they wouldn't come down $1, not a single dollar. And I need to thank them for not coming down a single dollar, because we decided to build it ourselves and we brought the cost down $10 million. And so I think when we invest in local county-based businesses, we will see the costs go down, because some folks are used to building other places and they can just charge a lot more. They'll bring in subcontractors from other places who charge, and they have to pay for transportation costs and all of those other things. And if we hire locally and build locally, I'm, proof that we can, do that. And on our Addison Road deal is proof evidence that, we're the owner, we're the developer, and we're the general contractor, and we were able to save this project millions of dollars and produce, really nice affordable housing and make a significant investment because we hire so many local folks.
So, Omar, you said something about the needed retail in our county, and John mentioned redevelopment. With older retail centers in the county and some underutilized sites that are ready for transformation, how are developers in the county approaching adaptive reuse and large-scale redevelopment to meet today's housing, employment, and retail needs?
Well, first of all, I think we need to think differently. And when I say we, I mean the development community. Last night we had a community meeting in Largo, and we had another one in at the new planning board office about 6 or 8 weeks ago, a number of developers. And to the person, every single comment that was made is, where's the retail? And because it's an afterthought oftentimes. And then we were the last developer that presented to talk about our downtown Largo project. And when they heard about what we're doing, what we told them is that we developed downtown Largo from a retail-centered standpoint. We started on the first floor on that plane and then did the apartments. The multifamily will pay for itself, and oftentimes the retail struggles. And so we solved for the retail first. And now that we did it economically, now we're going out to talk with, high-end grocery stores and restaurants and others who will be part of this development. And I think that's what, it takes innovation. It takes people who committed, not to say, hey, I'm gonna put 2,000 square feet of retail because that's what park and planning requires in my building, and I'm gonna call it mixed use. That's not real retail. That's a lot of these folks live in Mexico or Miami or whatever, and they can go to a grocery store or go to a restaurant and enjoy themselves. But I think the developers here and in this room, We need to think differently, and we need to behave differently, and not just say, well, nobody's going to do it. And therefore, all of this money leaves our county day in and day out, and we're just not going to do it anymore.
And the demand is here.
It is.
Right? Go ahead, Gina.
I was going to say, to your point, the demand is here. So our project by the Capitol Heights Metro, when we were in the planning process, the community initially wanted single-family home development on the site. And we basically explained that at that time, it was that census tract was the highest, had seen the highest foreclosure rates in the county. So we could not build single-family homes on that site. And of course, it was near the metro, so we wanted to do multifamily. So then we created two options for the project, option A, option B. Option B was the higher density option. And this neighborhood, largely African American, essentially, folks told us when we were trying to, propose this larger building that it couldn't be done, that this community would not agree to a higher density project. So what we did is we did multiple sessions on, the rationale for a larger building. The community wanted to see retail, and we explained that, you'll have a better chance of getting retail here if you have a bigger building. No one thought, when we talked to our development friends, that the folks in this community would go for the bigger building. They absolutely, we did a survey, went door to door. The church next door collected all the surveys, and the community overwhelmingly picked the larger building, right? The higher density building. Why? Because they wanted retail, right? And so that was not difficult, to get done. And right in communities, certainly if you give them the education, they will choose right every time for themselves. So absolutely, we definitely need to do more retail.
I would just add, I think it's really important that we think about land use and opportunities comprehensively. So in our experience here, for example, when we were recruiting Microsoft, where are we going to go to lunch? Where are folks going to live? How do I convince folks to come here, right? And so the building that they're moving into on Rivertech Court, we showed them how close that is to the Whole Foods anchored Riverdale Park Station and Dennison's Brewing and the Starbucks there and all of that. And frankly, in the IonQ headquarters search and discussion, it's going to be right by the metro. And we told them about our great aviation landing project in partnership with the Redevelopment Authority. And they said, how close can an employee walk somewhere to lunch? Right. We are only picking a place where somebody, and just because the metro's there, if your walk from the building to the metro is not what you expect, you'll go somewhere else, right? So it all has to work together. But if you're just building one building and you're just thinking, I got to make the numbers work in that one building, and maybe it has to be mixed use, I got to throw retail in there, I got to throw 2,000 square feet of retail and call it a mixed use building. Well, maybe technically it is, but it's not going to get you that result. So the more we can think comprehensively, and your revenue authority and the redevelopment authority, I know, are thinking that way, and that's really, really helpful and really healthy and exciting for us.
Yeah, what I wanted to add is that, when I go to these conferences, we talk about bringing in new retail, but we run a grant program, the Commercial Property Improvement Program, and we want to also make sure that we are supporting our existing business owners. And I'm glad the county executive is clapping. We had a budget of about $1.3 million last year, so obviously I'm coming to ask for some more. And I'm gonna be candid.
Tee it up.
For the program CPIP, it's a maximum of a reimbursable grant of $350,000. Last year we did not have 7 applicants, maybe 6 applicants. So the challenge for me is to make sure I make everyone aware of this program. I'm looking for 20 applicants next year, the minimum. And so, but we have to be sure that, the businesses who hung in there with us, fought through COVID, and really supported Prince George's County, we want to be there for them. And I'm looking forward to asking for more money in the next couple of weeks.
That's right.
All right, I'm looking for an indication that, if not, 5 minutes. All right.
Can I just add one more thing on the?
Go ahead.
I want to shout out the college. I don't know if anybody's here from the City of College Park, but the City of College Park, working with the county, has been working on helping retailers who are being displaced because of redevelopment. And we've been able to find multiple, whether it's Photom or Northwest Chinese, to keep them in Taqueria Habanero. And the county has been a part of that. The city has been a part of that. So Perry, to your comment, that is absolutely crucial. I'm thinking about 250 Barbecue, and you got that line around the corner, 250. They need to grow. They need to stay here. And I can tell you, they got a lot of options. A lot of people are recruiting them. So that's our absolute top priority. I'm glad you mentioned that.
And they want to stay here. And we
yeah,
want to keep them.
absolutely.
All right, so final question, I guess. All right, so looking in our crystal ball, looking ahead for 5 years, what does success look like for Prince George's County? And how can the public and private sector work together to balance growth, affordability, and economic diversity as the county continues to evolve?
I think we develop more destination sites for the county where people don't go on a beltway or drive down 214 and go to the district or 50 to Annapolis. That we finally create something that's not just a bedroom community. Sure, we love our cul-de-sacs and our homes and our grass, but let's bring in some businesses, more businesses to the county. Let's bring some more entertainment to the county. Let's bring some more retail to the county so we can keep these dollars here. And I think if we do that, right, imagine what's going to be at the Commander site or the Six Flags site or downtown Largo or what Ken is doing in College Park and the rest of the folks on the panelists are doing.
I think also, connecting economic opportunity, right, to all of these projects. I mean, the county executive gave a perfect example, right? She was in the store, in a space, found somebody talking about their business, and she hired them. We all need to do the same. We really need to make sure that both local businesses and individuals are getting the work on the projects, getting the economic opportunity so that they can then have more money to spend in the county, right? So ensuring that those things are tied to the project and somebody is actually tracking those things and ensuring that that the folks in the county get the opportunities, I think are going to be very important in the next chapter.
These are definitely challenging economic times. They're challenging times all around, but I feel strongly that the county has what it takes to overcome that and to produce even greater things in the next 5 years. So I would say 5 years from now, many of these projects that we've talked about, they will be either completed or under construction on their way to completion. And they're going to happen because all of the folks here, led by our leader, get together and solve the key problems. And we do it at such a high level that Prince George's County becomes known as the county that gets stuff done, the county that solves the problems the rest of the nation can't solve.
All right, well, I guess we're going to open it up for questions.
We are running a little bit behind. You covered some of the questions that came in, but one of the things I'm not quite sure that we touched on was talent just in Prince George's County. Obviously, we talked about the universities, right? But what's the level of expertise in the public sector at your development agencies here that we're using to match best talent experience currently in the private sector?
Well, I've been pretty impressed by how the county executive has hired, folks, and they get back with you. Right? They respond to an email, they return phone calls. I had eye surgery on Monday. I had both of my lenses replaced, and so I wasn't on emails. And I sent an email the other day, and I didn't think the person got back with me just before I had the surgery. And I looked, and she had got back with me. I was like, golly, like that's.
Do you know what you typed? Did you see it?
Not really, but. I'm very impressed by that, and so shout out to the new staff that has come on board, and I'm really excited about the new DCAO who's here and her team, and everybody who's doing economic development, Perry and the rest of the team that's really forward thinking and then talking about what I've heard over and over from the planning board staff and is we want to do stuff fast. And I think that having being like that in this environment, particularly with the capital markets kind of scrambled the way they are, is exciting, and we're super exciting for the continued growth of the county.
Yeah, and you talked about talent. What we have to recognize is that talent can be found in every corner of the county. We've talked a lot about the University of Maryland, but look, we have Prince George's Community College, we have Bowie State, and we have some great high schools producing some great students. So we got to reach in every corner and make them understand that there's real opportunity for people to thrive, start businesses, grow, and raise families here in Prince George's County.
And though I'm not on the panel, but I'm on the stage. I would say we try to do a good job at the county and looking at what the careers of the future are, and looking at our education institutions and sort of making those connections. So we talk about quantum, we talk about AI, and we talk about these futures careers, but also making sure that our talent, not just on the higher education, but looking K through 12 and that connectivity. Sure. You are a county executive. You can have
Go ahead.
the
She's
mic.
going to answer questions.
Yeah, I apologize. I just had to say this, and I know Latara's like, "Oh yeah, that's my project." But we have we met with the University of Maryland Global Campus, and we will be contacting all of you because we're looking for 100 businesses to sponsor at least 100 students who can, through a small investment of $10,000, but a small investment, relatively small investment of $10,000. Those students who are in high school now can get their bachelor's degree through through UMGC. And for those who want to ensure that we are growing that talent pool that your businesses need, well, this is a surefire way to do so. And so my Chief of Staff, Latara Harris, will be reaching out to you because it's really important that we prepare our children for jobs of the future, and in so many ways that future is now. So those students can not only get their degree, but they can begin internships with your companies. We have some really talented young people here in Prince George's County. They are super smart. I mean, I can't even tell you. Flowers has that 3D program where you can get your high school diploma, your associate's degree, and your bachelor's, and it's in coordination with UMG. GC, and so we want to expand the pool of students who will be able to go through that program, but some of those students can't afford it, and their parents may make too much for them to get a Pell Grant, but they are hungry and they desire to be mentored by you. So again, Latara will be reaching out, but just know that we have this partnership with UMGC. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give them a warm applause, everybody. Your panel.
Thank you to our panel.